Hey lovelies, you're welcome to reviews and recaps. I'm so sorry for posting this late. I was not feeling well at all. Honestly, I was feeling cramps. It was so bad, just period cramps. And I'm like, what did I ever do to Eve, honey? What is this pain about? And so even right now, I'm still feeling it, but I just needed to post for you guys. So I'm laying down, and I apologize in advance. I'll try not to move around too much so that there are no issues with the sound, but I'm actually laying down so I can record this for you guys, because I don't want to keep you guys just waiting on the videos. So let's get into today's video. But just before that, if you're new to this channel, please make sure you subscribe. I do commentary on reality TV shows, celebrity news, and everything in between. So thank you so much. And if you're a returning subscriber, I love you. Thank you so much for your support. We just hit 702 subscribers, so I'm excited. Thank you so much. I felt like I was a bit stuck in the 600s for a bit, but thank you for bringing me out of that. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. I love you all. We're on the road to 1,000, so we're gonna be 1,000 soon. Amen. Now let's get into today's episode. So the episode started at the men's lounge, right? And I realized that they only had 5 guys left. I was like, nah, that's insane, because there are no connections except Aries and Phil, right? I'm like, how are they the last 5 and there are no connections? And something ain't right, honey. Something is not right. I feel like this season has been a lot of drama, but no connections. Or maybe they're just not showing us the dates, because I don't see none of these connections. So anyways, Tommy tells them that he has a curveball. And everyone's like, oh, Tommy. So then he's like, the ladies will be meeting your ex. I'm like, okay, this should be interesting. So the first person that was shown was Jessica, right? So Jessica is Marie's ex, right? And guess who Marie's ex is going to be seeing? Jessica and Janelle. I'm like, isn't that interesting? I didn't even know Marie had a connection with Janelle. I didn't even know there was a connection there. So anyways, they were asking Marie's ex, why it didn't work with her. She then said that, there was an age difference, that she's 41 and that Marie's younger, and that she'd never dated anyone younger before. So that was a struggle for her. So then Jessica was trying to find out what qualities the person that would need to date Marie would need to have. Guess what Marie's ex said? She's like, sexual appetite. I'm like, seriously, what the hell? So then she starts trying to find out more about the girl's sexual appetite. And so Jessica shut that down real quick. She's like, I don't think that's something I want to answer. I'm like, yes, girl, good on you for standing up for yourself. So Maria's ex tells the girls that she does tarot card reading and she'd like to read them. When I tell you Janelle was not having any of it, her facial expressions changed. Oh my God. She's like, no, you can't do that for me, but maybe you can do that for them. She's like, I'm very non-negotiable about, having pagan things around me in my space. I need someone that is wanting to stand on the infallible word of God. I'm like, yes, ma'am. I can't lie to you. I know you guys don't like the way her approach, but I endorse that message personally. I don't do all of that. I don't want that in my space. And I can't date anyone who dibbles and dabbles in those sorts of things. That said, Jessica also wasn't keen, but she handled it a little bit better than Janelle did. So the next person we met was Quentin's ex, Bree. So she was basically going to be meeting with Janelle and Lee. I'm like, okay. So the ex brought up about physical connection and the ladies not kissing. And Janelle was like, I'm not about to be kissing someone when they're dating other people. I'm like, yes, ma'am. Facts, facts, facts. I'm not about to kiss you whilst you kiss someone else, and ew. That is, So then Lee asked what happened to end their relationship. So Bree started saying that, she wanted exclusivity and that Quentin didn't. If you see Janelle's face, Janelle is thinking the same what you told me. She then continued and said, he's content being single. Janelle did not like that. The next thing, this idiot, by the idiot, I mean Quentin said, oh yeah, the other day he ghosted Lee. I'm like, what? Why you gotta say that? So Lee basically said in her confessionals that the fact that, he said it in front of his other connection rubbed her the wrong way. I'm like, girl, I understand. He didn't need to say that in front of her. Like, especially knowing the kind of person Janelle is. Like, don't say that. All it would take is for Lee to move left and Janelle will say, well, that's why your connection ghosted you, honey. So after that, Lee was upset and very quiet. Like, that I completely understand. Bless her for actually not picking up her bag and leaving the day. I guess she didn't want to go home. So after Lee and Janelle left, Quentin's ex was telling him that she kind of felt that Lee disappeared a little bit. And he was like, yeah, he felt that too. He was saying in the confessionals that he feels like he needs to dig deeper into that because, like, you're sitting next to someone who wants your man. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I think he wants them to compete for him, for his affections, and he feels like Lee is not trying to do that. Over on the other side, Chris's ex was meeting Aries and Jessica. Aries walked in, cool, calm, collected, and Jessica walked in with her energy. And what was interesting was that Chris was like, as soon as Jessica walked in, he just noticed that she came in really loud and his ex's mood shifted. I'm like, okay, that's her business. So the girls asked the ex, like, why did the relationship end? She was like, oh, she didn't want to be forever girlfriend. And Chris was basically like, yes, that was where he was at the time. But then he made sure, like, he apologized. And then Aries was like, something about what he does exudes leadership. I'm like, is it me or have they edited this bit out? Because I don't understand what he has done that has showed exemplary leadership, unless I'm missing something, right? Maybe she used the wrong word, or maybe she means like the fact that Chris apologized is him leading by example. But girl, I don't know. That's a bit of a reach. I feel like Chris's ex was not trying to let any of those girls like Chris. Like, I think she still likes Chris because she then started talking about how Chris is a power player and he needs a supportive woman. So Jessica is like, oh, okay, what kind of support are we talking about? Is it a listening ear? Is it taking things off his plate? Like, what are we talking about? The ex was like, yeah, everything listed. I'm like, girl, okay. So then Jessica asked a valid question, like, did you receive any support from him as well? She was like, no. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, she was in servitude. I'm like, servitude? That is deep, honey. Like, that sounds like punishment. What the hell, sis? Chris, that woman is your op. She don't want you to be with anyone else. Sorry, you shouldn't have brought her. What is servitude? None of the girls are gonna fall for that. When I tell you Jessica was clear, she was like, that ain't something I am interested in, capable of doing, have the ability to do, want to do. Like, she's like, nope, I'm not doing any of that. So when they left, Chris's ex said she liked Aries' energy, but she thought Jessica was a bit too much for him. She was a bit loud, overbearing, and did not have any softness to her. Now, Jessica, I like you, girl, but you do come across very, very masculine. You do come across, pretty stern most times. So that's not necessarily a lie, but I would watch that if I were you. So Herbert brought his ex, Melanie, and Melanie was meeting Janelle, right? So first thing I noticed is Melanie and Janelle were like practically matching with their greens. I'm like, okay. And Melanie asked Janelle about like having children, and Janelle was like, yeah, she wants more children, but she doesn't know if she wants to carry children due to her age. But she definitely has plans to adopt. And so the ex was like trying to find out her timeline. And she was like, she wants children sooner rather than later. And she wants to be engaged later this year or early next year. Herbert looks confused. This is my thing. What do you guys talk about if you guys have not had this conversation? I'm starting to feel like all these people talk about is about elimination, dumb-ish like that. And no one is actually trying to get to know the other. Because it doesn't make any sense. These are very basic questions you ask at the start of getting to know anyone. Herbert was basically looking like, what? this ain't what we talked about. So I'm like, honey, did you even talk about it? Or is it that you forgot? Or she didn't tell you what time she was on? His ex then basically told her, like, girl, he likes to take his time. He's very slow. So Janelle was saying in her confessionals that his pace scares her. I'm like, yep, I don't think he's the man for you. He's going to drag it on, honey, and you're not going to get married to that man. Don't let him waste your time, sis. Herbert said something in his confessionals that really pissed me off, I have to say, right? He basically then said, the older he gets, maybe the quicker things can move, but he's not that old yet for the end of the year to be the goal for him. I'm like, you're rude. And also, you're dating someone who is older. So what is your point, sir? You knew her age before you started pursuing her, right? So what is it? I guess when the dates didn't work out with Maria's ex and Janelle and Jessica, Maria was like, ooh, backup plan, let's meet Sierra. So the first thing I thought was, Sierra, girl, what are you wearing? Like, I know you're a stylist and someone who used to be a stylist at some point. Like, I completely get, I have made some choices that, looking back, I'm like, girl, what was I thinking? Like, I was really trying to, explore different styles and try different things. But sometimes it ain't work. It's not working, honey. That outfit is not working for you. And that's okay. Now back to this day, honey. So, Sierra is bubbly, so they're all giggling and laughing and whatnot, right? Next thing, Maria is like, oh yeah, he missed it with his ex. I'm like, what? So then Sierra is like, what did you miss? When I say she cracks me up, she was saying in her confession, I was like, is this your queen? What did you miss? I'm like, girl, Sierra is there for the jokes, man. I love listening to her. She's funny. So then moving on to Phil. Phil brought his ex Amina to meet Aries, Kira, and Katerina. So Aries asked why the relationship ended. Amina was just like, it was a physical thing that, he wasn't very affectionate towards her. And then everyone was trying to understand, why weren't you very affectionate towards her? Right? So the ex asked Aries whether Phil was good with physical touch and physical affection. And Aries was like, yeah, he's good with me. Even whilst they were at the date, he had his hand on her leg the whole time. I'm like, this is the thing. When you're expecting a man to do something that he's not doing for you, he does not like you enough. He does not like you like that. When he meets the one he likes like that, the one he's attracted to like that, he will do all of those things. So that's why I'm always like, ladies, don't waste your time with the man who is leading you on, telling you he loves you, he likes you, but he can't do certain things or his actions are showing otherwise.
So when the girls left, the debrief happened. Amina was basically saying to Phil that she would choose Aries for him and that it seemed natural and it felt like she was actually meeting his girlfriend. And you guys know I already said it since I saw them together that I feel like they're practically together at this point. They should stop playing with Chris and let Chris know, honey, because Chris still thinks Aries is his one. So there was that. Now over in the men's lounge, Quentin starts telling the guys that he felt like Lee shrunk in the room. I'm like, yeah, do you want to tell them why? And Janelle took over the room and that he likes a confident woman, blah, de, blah, de, blah. I'm like, she shrunk because you embarrassed her. Seriously, can you guys tell I'm feeling better now? I had to take a 7-hour break or 8 hours break before continuing this recording because your girl was in pain, honey. But anyways, I'm all good now. So Herbert's basically talks about the timeline that Janelle wants to be engaged by the end of the year. He ain't feeling that, so that's what worries him. Then Maria talks about the fact that his ex wanted to read tarot cards. Janelle didn't like it. Jessica didn't either. And so it looks like he may have lost his 2 connections. I'm like, oh, yes, sir. You sure did. Yes, sir. And so Chris was like, what the cards say. I'm like, Chris, that was so funny. I can't lie. I laughed. I went back. I rewinded it to listen to Chris again, to laugh again. Because I'm like, yeah, what did the cards say? Maybe the cards could have told you that. Yeah. But yeah, no, that was funny. And so then the guys start talking about who they're not connecting with. So of course Sierra's name gets mentioned a lot, Kira's name gets mentioned a lot, and then they brought up the whole black culture comment yet again. I was just like, I hear it. At this point, I'm tired of it. Just leave her. She needs to go home. It's been going on for a while now. Just go home. Head home. It's cool. So then Kira was the one. So Kira and Sierra were up for elimination. Herbert was the one who went to meet up with Kira. So he brought up the whole thing, no connections with anyone, and the black culture thing is offensive. And then this is where I appreciated her for taking accountability. She's like, you know what? I may have said some things that have rubbed people off the wrong way. I'm like, fantastic. And then she was also saying that she was relieved about being told she's not ready to love. I'm like, girl, you could have done that to yourself. You could have said, I self-eliminate. But I don't understand why people don't self-eliminate most times, but then wait until they're eliminated just to say, oh, I've been wanting to be eliminated. Then eliminate yourself. Like, I don't understand. Like, why is it that you guys don't do that and then later on bring that up? Like, but anyways, that was my little 2 cents. So then Chris was the one who had the elimination date with Sierra. So I was like, okay, look at them having like their little banter. But then again, Sierra hangs out with everyone and she has a good old time. She's there to have fun. I don't actually think she is planning to meet anyone. She's sort of like, if I meet someone, good. If I don't, good. Whatever. But she was like, she didn't realize how old Chris was. She then realized Chris was like, yeah, I'm 39. She's like, what? You're older than me? Wow, good genes. Now, I have to say, Chris does look like he's in his early 20s still. I think the fact that he's petite, but then his face as well, and the fact that he smiles a lot, I feel like the whole thing, he definitely looks like someone in his 20s or mid-20s at maybe maximum, in my opinion. And he's like, you might as well start calling me daddy. I'm like, okay, Chris. I like that playful side of you. It feels like a lot of times I've seen Chris on the screens, I haven't really seen a lot of his playful side. So I feel like I need to see that a little bit more. Like, they need to show us a little bit more of their personality. I think that's what's missing this season. So he basically told her, like, the guys feel like you're not being vulnerable. She's like, she's been as vulnerable as she's ever been. And they're like, you know, is she willing to be more vulnerable? And that she is still ready to love. And so that was the end of the episode. Please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And tap that bell so you know every single time that I post. And I will see you guys later. Also, guys, I cannot do the Love and Marriage Detroit today because yes, I'm feeling better, but I'm still knackered. I have not eaten all day and it is later in the evening because I'm not in the United States. So your girl is hungry, tired, and still cramping up. So I would probably say leave it with me today. I'll pick that up tomorrow if that's okay. I apologize for leaving it a bit late, but you will get something tomorrow from me. Even if I have to do it whilst I'm in pain, I will get something to you guys. So yeah, thank you all and I'll see you later. Bye.